Okay, welcome everyone to the 26th Health Teaching Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And first we're going to start off with the promotional movie for the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And here we go.
Where does humanity go from here? What have we tried to do? What if there is more, much more? The Keshe Foundation is proud to announce a new way to bring humanity forward through technology that brings humanity in line with the natural operation of the planet and universe itself. The new science and technology discovered and developed by the nuclear engineer Moran Keshe centers upon the use and control of magnetical gravitational fields. This new body of knowledge opens the road to hundreds of potential applications, which offer solutions to most of the fundamental problems of the world, such as water, food, environmental contamination, and shortages of energy. The Keshe Foundation is proud to unveil the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Nestled amidst the beautiful shores of Bari, Italy, the Institute is poised to become a central hub in the spreading of plasma technology and knowledge. With its state-of-the-art 21st century facilities, the Institute will be able to provide students and staff an immersive way to learn the plasma technology, to be the leaders of the new generation of scientists and plasma engineers. The Keshe Foundation has opened the door to the world for peaceful usage of technology that is independent of the limited resources that are available on Earth. This is an understanding of how everything works together in harmony in our universe, and it applies to everything from the smallest to the biggest, from atoms to galaxies. We all are able to collectively work together in pursuit of knowledge, innovation, and solutions for our society. This learning environment is new to the world, where there will be no test to confirm your understanding. The knowledge of everyone will be respected and allowed to flourish in a nurturing environment. Hands-on testing and experimenting will be widely used in conjunction with roundtable discussions to bring all opinions and knowledge forward. Students will be introduced to a change in the ethos of working in collaboration. Students will experience firsthand how we share knowledge in a free and open manner. Graduating students are expected to share the knowledge they gain from the university within their respective communities and nations. All formal teachings, lectures, and presentations will be in the English language, with technology available for immediate translation. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be offering 3-year executive master programs for undergraduate degree students and 1-year executive master programs for graduate degree students in the following fields: space transportation, new plasma technology, health, agriculture, materials, energy. The health section is designed to make students able to live in space without the need to return to Earth. To this end, the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute has found processes for many diseases including ALS, cancer, coma, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will offer online teaching courses which will enable anyone, anywhere around the world to enroll and increase their knowledge and understanding. Students will have the opportunity to direct their work towards commercial spin-offs and seek funding through the help of the Keshe Foundation. The access to the new science and new technologies is openly available for peaceful use to the benefit of mankind to make a better world today. Now you can be part of the changing world and the new knowledge. All commercial spin-offs are intended to be open source and patent-free. This is part of the core ethos of the Keshe Foundation and the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will have its official inauguration on April 21st, 2015, with courses commencing soon after on May 4th, 2015. The students of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be the leaders of the future who will make changes in all areas of space technology, science, medicine, agriculture, and energy. Anyone is able to apply, but acceptance is through invitation only. No prerequisites are required. We will be accepting approximately 250 students for the 3-year Executive Master's Program and 120 students for the 1-year Executive Master's Program. We welcome humanities participation in the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Where does humanity go from here? That is up to you. Apply today.
Okay, that was our promotional video for the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Okay, now we're going to move into the main part of the health workshop, and today is going to be a review of the previous workshops and questions from the general material we've already covered. And so let's move into speaking with Dr. Elia Kostova of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Are you there, Elia?
Yes, hello everybody. It's me, Elia, and the 26th Health Teaching Keshe Foundation workshop. Today we make specially for you and the summary of the all workshops is mean you are able to ask any questions what was difficult for you to understand or some new ideas what you get during the last workshop from 11 to 25. And also I want to represent you the experiment what we made with Armen with needles. That experiment is with nano-coated silver copper acupuncture needles. Okay, could you please, Rick, just show the presentation of the pictures of needles? I have delay or it's not ready yet? Yeah.
It's up on,
Okay.
it's coming up on the live stream there. I'm just
Yeah.
getting it all set up properly. Yep.
Okay, so that presentation was for the technical workshop, but because this is the equipment what we use in medical parts, so we decide just to put in the health workshop some quick preview to explain you what was idea between me, Mr. Cash, and our nano coating master Armen. So I call that experiment medical experiment from nano coating master Armen, Dr. Elia. This is based on the knowledge of Mr. Cash. This is the spectral reflection of light on nano coated copper silver acupuncture needle. So actually the needle is manufactured from silver and copper. So the head of the needle, what on that picture you see that is black, this is the head of the needle. This is the copper part. And everything what is the branch of the needle is from pure silver. So the needle is manufactured on that way, and only the copper part is nano coated, actually the head of the needle. And because of that, you see on that picture it is black now, so it means the nano coating is perfect as usual what Armen do. Okay, so we will return back on that picture, the first one, because it's so important. But to understand what I mean with that picture, so we just start the presentation and then we will go back. Okay, so to the second picture. The second picture, I just try to picture it with the flash, with normal flash of my cell phone, the needle was interesting to me what will happen. And actually the background, this is the white paper, absolutely, normal white paper, just to be like a screen. So a reflection of light, what you see on these three pictures. So the black one, this is the needle, what I hold. And then you see you have more two lines. Actually, you have one brown line and one blue line. So how you know the normal color of the copper is brown and the normal color of the guns of copper is blue. And actually, you see that you have reflection of light in the plasma level, nanocoating. This is the black one. Then you have directly reflection of the matter state of copper, brown. And then you have a reflection of light of the GANS materials of copper. Oh, because it's nanocoating only copper part of the needle. So for me, it was like a surprise, was really so interesting. So I just put ahead my mind and try to see what I'm able to find out, like other way, uh, just to show different layers on that nano coated part. So we go to the next picture. Uh, the next picture is again the same needle, just I hold it, the silver part, and picture it the copper part. It's again the same. You have the black line. This is the head of the needle, and then you have again two lines. This is like blue from the gun state and brown from the metal state. But you see on when I picture it above the copper part, now the lines they're in other consequence. First, we get the gun state, the blue line, and then we get the matter state. What is really interesting again, because on the previous picture I make a flash picture on the side. So it's appearing the solid state, then the gun state. But when I picture it above, and you see it's appearing first the gun state and then the solid state, like a colors. Okay, then we go to the next slide. The next slide is two pictures. Actually, inside, this is the medical glass. Inside of the medical glass is some kind of shape like, this is not sphere, but it's like a sphere. This is the specific medical, how to say, plates. We put different things for sterilization inside. This is the poor medical glass. Inside, I put distillate water. So when I put the needle in the middle of the distillate water, it starts to make probably 50 pictures. And from all of them, I choose several. So you see on that picture, what is the reflection of light? Again, you have two lines, blue and brown. And inside of that lines, you see, it is like separation, like a barcode. So you have the condense of the blue and brown, then you have a gap, and then you have again like a block of the blue and brown, and then I have again you have a gap. And one more structure you have, this is the white bubbles inside of the blue and brown bubbles. Also, if you notice, and if Rick is able just to open the picture, you see like around all the glass, this is like a shape of sphere, all this reflection of light make like a atmosphere, it starts to be to have a clothes. On the left side of the picture, it is white and blue clothes, and if you notice on the right side, it's only brown clothes. And in both clothes, you have again the white bubbles inside. It's actually the reflection of the nano-coated part make two strings. One is the vertical string, and other string is around, is how to say, spreading like atmosphere around on the glass. And if you notice how the earth is moving, actually the os of the earth, ecliptica, is working on the same way. If you think the ecliptica is nano-coated os, you have reflection of light what is like 45 degree of ecliptica on the sunlight, and then you get the atmosphere around. For me, this is my understanding, just correct me if I'm not right, but I just think this is the same principle how we get the colors in our sky. Okay, then we go to the next slide. The next slide is the same, just different pictures, and more visible is inside the bubbles. The white bubbles, what you have inside of the brown and blue. Just perspective of making the picture is different. And because of that, I put just several pictures. And if you notice here, we have again different color of the clothes around. And you see, this is like on the first floor we have brown, white, and then above we have a blue. It is because I just changed the angle of making the pictures, and because I changed the angle, and then the reflection is completely different. The main one on the line, it's the same, but everything what you see like a close around like atmosphere, they change the places regarding the angle from where I just flash with the camera. And it is the same how you have in the reactor of Victor, you see in the next picture, and the same like you have a barcoding. And you see they'll just come in packages. Package gap, package gap, package gap. This is actually exactly like a barcode. Okay, then we go to the next picture. This is the same situation, just different pictures to make you more visible for you. On the right side of the picture is more visible the white bubbles inside, how they are above each other. And if you are able to zoom the picture, you actually see that they have the white center and they have a halo around. And that white center with halo around is inside of the blue and brown bubbles. Okay. And now what picture show you, Rick? You see on the left side how you have the atmosphere. See, this is like a rainbow on the left side. And it is again repetitive model. You have a brown cloth, the blue cloth, and white one, and bubbles inside. Okay, then we go to the next slide. The next slide, I just give you comparison about the Vito reactor when he got two bubbles inside of the reactor. And if you remember, then Mr. Cash spoke about the twinity, and then was a discussion about the soul levels. So you compare the same bubbles, the white inside of the blue and brown. This is completely the same shape, and they connect to each other in one pole. Just you're supposed to zoom the picture and it's visible. Completely visible. Absolutely the same. And in the reactor of Vitor, if you see, you have again the brown and blue lines. So many similarity. Okay, then we go to the next slide. The next slide, I just wanted to preserve the electrolytic state. So inside of distillate water, I just put the spiritus ethylicus 95%. And actually, how to say, the screen starts to be more clear, and how you see the bubbles inside, the white bubbles inside of the brown and blue, they start to be more separate and more in shape. Their shape starts to be more clear. So what's mean when you put the sugar, because actually the spiritus is the sugar CH3 contained inside, you make the particles or the GANs materials more on shape, more compact. You separate them from each other. If you come something like a mixture, when you put sugar, the sugar give you separation and more visibility. And again, if you look at the clothes, now they're more or less separately from each other. Okay, then we go to the next slide. The next slide is again distillate water with spiritus ethylicus, and how you see the consequence of the blue and brown is this is the same like a consequence of the DNA. The right side, this is the picture of DNA consequence. So this is completely similarity. So in theosophy, we speak that DNA is light. Mr. Kesh also explained it to you. So with that experiment, we are able just to prove that actually with GANs materials, we are able to repeat the same model, the same consequence we get with that simple experiment. Just simple prove that we are constructed from GANs materials, actually. Okay, then we go to the next slide. The next slide, I just took it out, the needle, and starts to flash again. And the different
Excuse me,
was,
Dr. Yeah.
yeah,
Can you stop? Can you
stop.
go back on this picture, which you just say proves we are made of
DNA.
GANs?
Yeah, this is the
DNA. Can you
previous
go
one,
more
9.
detail?
9.
Can you explain this in more detail than just passing?
Yeah, so this is the same consequence when you have the strength of the DNA. Actually, in we have one DNA chain with two strands inside. They turn around, make a vortex, how you know, and our vortex of the DNA just turn right side, and inside of the DNA, we have the consequence of different kind of base we call in medical language. So actually on the right side, this is the microscopic laser picture of the DNA and different colors. This is different bases, thiamine, what we have inside of the DNA. We have the 4 bases and several combination of that 4 bases inside of the DNA. And actually different colors, this is
What are the
repetition of,
bases? What do you mean? What do you mean by 4 bases? You are worse in this. We don't understand. Can you explain
okay.
what do you mean by 4 bases?
Yeah, basically, this is the 4 components of the DNA. They are the nucleotides with different names, and there are 4. And of combination of that 4 nucleotides, we get all the chain of our DNA. This is the repetitive model. So their name, if you want, I may tell you. This is the guanine, adenine, thymine, and cytosine. So guanine have a color, thymine have a color, adenine have a color, cytosine have a color. And during the laser microscopy, this is repetitive model. You see like a consequence of different uh, colors inside of one line. So the same things when I flash the needle, I get repetitive model of two colors, blue and brown, consequence on the blocks. So we have a block of two colors, then gap, and then you have again block and then gap, and then again block and then gap. So actually, this is a similarity between picture of the DNA sequence and the picture with a reflection of light what I make on the needle. It's clear now, sir? So actually the base, they
Yes,
contain
yes, I'm
it.
learning. I'm learning.
No, I just, if something you have to say more. So the base of DNA, they contain the nitrogen. So you know that, more of you. Okay. So the next picture was when I took out the needle from the solution of alcohol and distillate water, and I start to picture again. And how you see the difference between the lines, they start to be more white. I picture it on the same distance, on the same angle. I just try to make sure that I do everything on the same way and to not have a different because of angle or something else. And actually, the lines, they start to be more white. Okay, and then the last one, um, when
Excuse me,
I,
excuse me.
yes,
The black, the black is the needle.
this is the
The
needle.
blue, the
This
black
is
is
the
the
color
needle.
of guns. Yeah, everything is reflection of needle.
Yeah, yeah. But what I'm saying, the actual black color is the needle itself. The blue
Itself.
and the gold are the reflections.
Yes.
Yeah, am I correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So the last one picture, when I start to picture directly the needle, I just saw that I got the same shape of the blue and brown, but inside of the silver. So silver is not nano coated. And how I get the same shape in the silver part, and how you see it is so close to the end of the head, to the end of the nano coated part. And I just start to think, can be that be just the current, Gans current, going to the silver part? And for me was interesting. I started to search inside of the periodic table, and I saw that the copper, the silver, and then the gold, they are transitional metals, and they have how to say, specific difference between the neutrons actually. And when you start to divert the neutrons between the copper, silver, and gold, you see the consequence even in them isotopes. And they are the transitional metals, but they are in one group in different periods, and because of that they have different amount of neutrons inside. And actually, the less amount of neutron have a copper, then silver, and then gold. And now we get a current from a small amount of neutrons, copper, to the huge amount of neutrons, silver. You see, this is like minus to plus. This is my thinking. I'm not saying I'm right. I just wanted to show to Mr. Kesh and to ask if I'm correct. And everything is in my mind is in the correct way of thinking. But just I just repeat, I made the several pictures, and even inside of the petri, when I picture it, this is only needle, no solution. Inside it is again even in the middle of the silver part. So for me, this is like a traveling of gases through the silver part. Even uh, the one part is the GANS material, and other one part is for me explanation of the solid state of copper. And then we start to speak in the chat rooms and discuss is possible or not, because I'm a doctor, I'm not the technical person. So I ask our technician guys what they think about, if they agree with me, can we just discover something more? And I just found out one interesting article. So could you please just show the article what I posted link to you? And there was interesting what this is one experiment again with silver. So when I repost it to you, it will be understandable. So this is the experiment what they make. 1 second. Okay, experiment is actually they start to make analysis how the current of electron goes in nano-coated wires with light. And I will just give you the summary, and because the pictures after that is so interesting. And inside of the article, I just read you a couple of sentences. So here we demonstrate the ability of ultra-fast transmission electron microscopy to simultaneously image both the spatial interface and the quantization of the such confined plasmatic fields. Our experiments are accomplished by spatiotemporary overlapping electron and light pulses on a single nanowire suspended on a graphene film. The resulting energy exchange between single electron and the quanta of the photo-induced near field is imaged synchronously with its spatial interference pattern. So actually, when you go to the first pictures, you see that when the electron from the electron gun pass through nano-coated wire from graphene and silver, this is actually the graphene silver wire, make a shape of wave, and the photon, the quark or photoionized field near, they're after that. And actually, they have a gap between them. And of all that investigation, how you see they have also many other pictures above, like C, D, A, F, G. This is different pathway of picturing during the time where goes the electron wave, and after that the quark. And for my understanding, actually, I make the same things like an electron. This is the brown part, the copper part, the solid matter. And the blue part, the blue bubble, this is the GANs, or if you compare with that investigation, the quark state. So actually, they have on then passing, they pass together like a wave, but because of the different strength of the matter, they pass with different speed. And because of that, we get the two strength lines of, one speedy line of GAN's state of matter of the same material, and one more slow because of the speed line of the solid state of that matter. And they have a gap between them. This is the line between the blue and brown line, or the blue and brown bubbles. But actually, state of matter, they run together, they pass together, but with different speed. And how we spoke before, that all the state of matter exist in simultaneously time, on the same time, but they express themselves with different speed. And because expressed with different speed, they give you different colors. So I just wanted to explain to you. Just read the article. It's really so interesting, and to compare and also with yours experiment, just exchange the different state with matter with different names, and then you go to the level deep, like GANs. So they reach the quark. The quark is the plasmatic state. So you just replace the quark with GANs and electron with the solid state. Okay. So thank you. I just that was for me. If someone will have a question how I made the experiment, it's okay. Ask me. Otherwise, I will be so thankful, Mr. Cash, just to make some comments of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elia. Mr. Kesh, would you like to comment on that? Or does somebody have a particular question for this?
I think there is no comment. We've seen this, we know why. We see the spectrum. And in so many ways, Dr. Elia keeps on speaking about the GANs. It's a nano layer. It's not a GANs on the needle. We call it the GANs when it's separated as an individual entity. These nano layers carry a gravitational magnetic field of a specific bandwidth, and the colors are just what is visible, what we like to visualize. Because we see them, we have to confirm their existence. The flow, current flow between the copper and the silver side, and the energy flow, it's well understood, because the nano layers absorb the energy from the environment because of their magnetic gravitational field, magnetical gravitational field of them, and when that current is created, it has to flow somewhere. And we see, that's what we see with the silver side of the needles. What will be interesting is, now that Dr. Elia tells us that there is a current flow, and she's shown all of it, but she hasn't gone into the essence of it. How and what would be the outcome of using these needles as acupuncture needle? Do we transfer more energy to the point of the what they call emotional or physical reflexes, or do we take away from it? Does heat goes inwards, or a current flow inwards to the needle, or is it moving backwards out of it? This is the question. This is what was said from the beginning, when these needles were sent by Sohail from China for us. What would we get? Would we get a higher temperature point, or do we get a higher extraction point? Would the needle in the skin of the man and the flesh become a gans inside the gans? Silver is heavier, or copper will absorb the most of the heat due to opposite flow of the current of the plasma. Just remember, which is, I always keep on saying, creating a condition. The second, the instant the needle enters the body of the man, the skin, it's like the food which we discussed, which you swallow. It becomes as part of a gans state, does not behave like a matter anymore. Even though One half of it is sticking out is a matter state, the other half is sticking in, is in the gans state. It's like the water in your reactors, even it's a matter, but it behaves like a gans of the water. So what are the consequences of using this? How far do we go and what do we see? This is what we need to ask Dr. Elia.
So, do you think, sir, if
What
I
would you
puncture
use
it?
it? What would you use? What would you use as a acupuncture needle? Because that's one of your expertise.
Yeah.
What do you think
So,
would it do? Would it transfer the energy in or would it transfer the energy out?
okay.
Would
So
it
for
heal faster or would it cause more problem? Would you cook the meat or would you cool the meat from gravitational magnetical point of view?
Okay. So regarding the acupuncture, it depends where you put the needle. What is the point? What is the sub point? The angles and the system what you use. And if you want to take out the energy from point, you have the specific way of application of the needle. And if you want to put the same. And actually, regarding the Kiev technology, we say that the shape organize the materials inside. So it's my understanding that because the shape of the needle is sharp, for me, more or less, this is the providing the information inside of the surface. And if the shape end of the needle will be more spheric, for me, is probably to take it out. That I thinking on the way of the Kiev Foundation, but also I think about the to puncture the skin and just to try to make a flashes again and to see if something's come out from the skin. But it is so primitive experiment. I mean, I don't have any specific photo camera or something just to visualize more clearly. So if I pinch the skin and starts to flash, is it by chance if I'm able to catch something? For me, we just um, have to do it and to find out the way just to measure difference between the ending of the needle and the beginning of the needle, above the skin, close the skin, just to recognize that we have some kind of different potential between the places. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm in clinic. I'm able just to figure out how the flow goes. If someone have different kind of ideas, because to understand everything precisely, we need spectrography just to see so what is going on inside.
Yes, but what's the purpose or how do you use or what do you see is the purpose of using an acupuncture needle normally? This is what you usually use from the plasma point of view, not from what they call acupuncture point of view.
Yeah,
Because the way
probably.
I look at it is to bring in, because of the heavier element, a concentration of the energy towards it. That's how you release the pain. Because in a way you create gravitation towards a heavier matter. What would be the consequences of now you put a, what do you call it, heavier element inside, and now the silver behaves as a GANs? Is the flow of energy or plasmatic magnetic condition from the silver side to the copper side, or is it from the copper side to the silver side? Now that the body is in the what do you call it, the needle
Taking
is in the body
container.
of the man.
Yeah, yeah, that we have
And
to.
then what about, let's look at it the other way. Part of the needle is sticking out, and it's still the silver part, which is not nano-coated. And you have a you have nano-coat on one end, you have two nano-coats and one piece of non-nano-coated in your hand. One
Yes,
is
right.
nano-coated prior and one you got it in the environment of nanomaterial, so it behaves like a nanomaterial. What happens to that? Does it heat up that piece? Does it cool down that piece? What happens on the silver piece, which is between the body of the man and the copper coated side? Do you have to
Yeah.
go all the way in to touch off the point of the copper?
So how to visualize, sir?
I don't know. You brought this on. You better answer it.
No, I mean, what is the technical way to visualize this flow? Only is the spectrography or have something more easy?
There are different ways to do it. If you can see the aura around it, it'll give you a good indication. And if you can distinguish between the color of the auras, it gives you what is emitted and what is not there, and what was before penetration of the needle inside the skin. But we have this needle structure in our body all over the place. And in most of the talking, most of the teaching has been done for past few weeks. We've seen so many of them.
Yes.
The body of the man works partially in this way because we dissipate our emotions, part of it. We do the same thing with our physical part.
So it's supposed to be the same, just we have to prove it with some visualization.
You don't need to prove anything. We need to show what would be the outcome.
Yeah. Just to show, no, this is the
What do you
two-way
think?
pattern.
Would it increase the pain, you think, using a nano-coated head? Or would it reduce the pain?
I think the body will take what need. If need to release, will release, and if need to take, will take.
Yeah, but what would be the outcome? Less pain or more pain?
If need to take, no, will be releasing. I mean, will be relief of the symptom, because you are able to have a pain because you have so many cells around, like inflammation, or it's empty like a wound, you again have a pain. The cause of the pain is so many things, of zero to huge amount. So it means the body will take or release what need. And of the flow up or down, if we able to recognize and to show, we'll see what body do, take it or release it. So that is the question, how to visualize that flow.
Yeah, but what will be interesting, okay, you use a acupuncture needle, let's say for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you've used for years. What would be the outcome of using a acupuncture needle now, which is nano-coated? Would it reduce the time? Would it
Yes,
do it
time
instantly?
efficiency. Yes, time efficiency.
But how can we measure? How can we measure?
We
Because
measure
it's a
from relief.
nano.
We'll measure of relief of the symptoms, and the symptoms will be not come back. Do not have repetitive model of the symptom. I mean, you have relief for 2 hours and then the symptoms come again, or for several days and then the symptoms come again. If we are able to done with needles like that, for me, the symptoms will be just reconstruct the place and reconstruct the organization of the materials inside, and will be that's it. Because through the copper wires in our body, the signal will be reach the brain and everything around. Because of that, I choose the copper, just to use our copper wires inside, just to spread the signal. That's my understanding.
Are there any comments from anyone? Do we have anybody who can give? Do we have anybody else who might have some opinion about this?
Well, we did see in previous health workshops about the layering of the skin, and there was a gradient there with the voltage or the potential. So that might have something to do with it. And also we had pictures of the hair follicles that penetrate down into the skin. And something was said about that as a sensor, as it's able to go into the deeper layers that have a different plasmatic potential, let's say. So,
do we need acupuncture? That's all. Do we need acupuncture, or can we use a system which still carries the fields without the needles in a plasmatic condition?
sure, that makes sense. For me, I've had a acupuncture treatment that changed my life. Basically, I wasn't able to sit down for about a year or a year and a half from extreme back pain from a herniated disc, and in a simple 2-minute operation with several acupuncture needles down the side of my leg, it took within 2 weeks the pain dissipated and the tension around that area of the back and down the leg, the sciatic nerve and so on, the tension eased and it just sort of melted away. But the feeling of the needle going in was like an electrical impulse. So it was like it felt very much electrical or sort of like well, that's the only way I can explain it. If you've ever felt electricity up to 100 or so volts, it has a certain feeling, and that's the way it felt inside my hip where the needle was. So I'm thinking that if it could be done in a plasmatic way, to essentially you're triggering a certain point in the body, and there's certain people know where those points are. They're very specific, and if they can be triggered, then you produce the relaxation response in the muscle systems. So I mean, that should be able to be done.
You see, when you speak about what you've experienced, we all know how the pressure on sciatic nerve comes from the disc. The fundamental point is to release the pressure of the nerve by the disc, which is sitting on top of it. What does the acupuncture do in that case? It doesn't change the position of the disc. It doesn't move the disc from pressurizing the nerve.
The way it was explained to me by the doctor, who was a medical doctor and an Eastern doctor both, he actually introduced acupuncture into the province of British Columbia here in Canada, and he said it was like the old chicken and the young chicken. And if your injury if it's gone too long, then the muscles get more or less like the old chicken. They're very hard, tense, and it's hard to deal with the acupuncture or any method because of the the muscles get very wound up and tense and stay that way. But if it's still relatively fresh in a sense, then it's like the young chicken, and the young chicken has more easily manipulated structure and can be, there's an easier chance that they'll have success. So I was probably somewhere between the young chicken and an old chicken, and it ended up working for me in that particular case.
Maybe Dr. Elia can explain to us what happens when you do that, when you use acupuncture.
So when you have oppression of the disc or ganglion, first you have to decompress the place. And after decompression and reconstruction of the skeleton, then you go to the acupuncture. And actually the acupuncture just renovate the flow of the nervous impulse to the point, and because of that you have several points, and then you picture it. This is when we speak about the pain, but with acupuncture you make not only the release of of some symptom, you are able to make energy reconstruction of body. And when you go to the acupuncturist, the first he make energy investigation of your body. It is models which one energy is more high or less, or what is the capability between all the energies. And then regarding that, it starts to make you different kind of prescription in different meridians, how to synchronize your energy fields. So acupuncture has so many levels. This is not
Can
only
I
for
ask a
some
question?
symptoms.
Can I
Yeah.
ask a question?
Yes,
You're
sir.
a doctor with experience with acupuncture. You do not change the pressure of a disc on a nerve with acupuncture. You just change the tolerance of the information carrier within the nerve. That's why the pain goes, if I'm correct. Because if you take a picture of the disc before and after acupuncture or down the line, you don't see the retraction or change of the structure of the disc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Am I correct?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So you change what we said, that you change the information carrier of the nerve, so it carries more information at lower level than the higher level. So that's how there is no leftovers to what we call to create pain. But structurally, with what we've done in the Keshe Foundation over the years, we see physical reconstruction of the disc growth that takes the pressure off the nerve. In so many ways, very, very few microns. And we see in the people who are bent, they can stand upright, or people who could not get up, they can get up and move around normal. The difference between the acupuncture, what we call the presence of hiding the pain or reducing the pain threshold with needles, is different than actually with the new technology understanding of the construction of the gans of the body of the man, to be able to reconstruct or at least create a condition that the pressure on the nerves changes, that you introduce liquid back into the disc and the disc pulls in and takes the pressure off the nerve. With acupuncture, if it goes, it can come back again, because if the pressure becomes more, next time you have again pain. But with the new space technology and the construction of the understanding of the gans of the body of the man, we have experienced quite a large number of experience in this field, where we allow the disc to regenerate itself to a level that it can come back to a point that it doesn't put pressure on the nerve, it just reconstructs itself. And we see people at the age of 80, 75, 80, who were bent like half moon, can go upright and, decorate and everything else. We've seen people in their mid 40s, 50s, where they are bent that they cannot stand up. When they're on the floor, they walk normal and they carry on. This is the difference between what we call matter state process and a gas state or plasma state technology. This is where the future is coming in. This is where the difference is. This is where when you went ahead to order these needles was to bring into a point the connection between the matter and the plasma or a cancer state and plasma state itself. What you can do, this is what I said before, when this test, before you had these needles made in China. What about if you introduce like a bottle of gas on the top or part of the needle, nano-coated, that it can absorb energy from the environment in different direction, in different quantities, in different strength. Then you transfer gas to the gas matter, and then you have to be able to deliver or absorb energy. The process is to do the same job, but through understanding of the plasma and understanding that the body of the man, as we showed, is made of GANs. This is what I've been trying to explain, trying to bring more and more your attentions as knowledge seekers to think in respect to how a plasma behaves. You can predict it before you actually do it. In seats and the chairs which we use for regeneration of the bone, especially like in the hip cancer, where there is, or in the osteoporosis, we do not go and build. We create a condition, plasmatic condition, that the material has the opportunity to develop. We change the condition. So in the long run, as we are space-based technology, we produce and introduce through simple technology new methods and ways of doing it. In the coming days, we will release communication of the discovery of new behavior of these materials, done by international laboratory, by governments. Because now, once it's done, is released, and its use has become, common knowledge, then we don't have this, everybody will think in one direction. But as we are human, it's very much like what I call the schizophrenic, but knowing which side which you are. It's like having two different cultures in the same house. You show the color of the needle, how it has two colors, and when you have the other color, it should have been very easy to understand why you have two colors. One is a plasma, and one is a matter. Why do you see the color through? Because even though matter is become in nano state, it's totally transparent. Your picture showed a very clear indication of what looks solid to us is actually transparent. That's why you see the color of blue. Before, the nanomaterial is separated to become the blue which you see in the copper oxide. This picture, a simple camera picture, has broken a lot of knowledge in the world of nanotechnology. If you get another material and photograph it, nano-coat it and photograph it, before you make scans, you should be able to say the color of the GANs. If you made aluminum oxide, you take a picture of it, you should see the color of how aluminum oxide should have a shape of. because, as we said, nanomaterials are layers. And when you are layers and separated, as we always said in our teachings, that
We appear to be having some technical difficulties at this moment as the Spaceship Institute has been cut off. We'll try to add them back in. Bear with us. And maybe we can convince Elia to sing some of her favorite ethnic folk songs. No, maybe not.
No, our songs is so noisy, you know? All the live stream will be gone. If someone have a questions, since we wait Mr. Cash to come back, just write. And also from the workshops, actually that experiment is completely technical. So I just figured out how the guns looks like, how they compare with matter state. That was for the technician part.
okay, we are back on. What I'm trying to put the camera on, but I can't get the mark. Here am I. If I could get the camera on, somehow Skype doesn't allow. I could have explained it in so many. I don't have bandwidth.
It should work. Oh, you don't have the bandwidth? Okay, that's another issue.
That's what Marco tells us.
Okay.
Because we have this position. It's black. We cannot click on it, unfortunately. So if you look at what we always said, that nano materials, the way we produce it, is layers and layers, and the distance gap between each layer, between each atom, between each structure element, then this picture confirms it immediately. Because now you see the light being able to go through and show the color. And the separation of the color. And how, if you take a picture of a copper, the shadow is black. Why do you see it in the shade of the color of the copper? Take another picture. While we are on, you have the needle. You have a needle which are uncoated. And take a picture of the needle. What will be the consequence of it? What will we see? We see a shadow. Why do you see the shadow of the blue and the copper? Because the gravitational magnetic field reflection of the entity on the copper shows itself in that way. The shadow should not be the color. The shadow should be as we've seen. You don't see yourself in the color, in the shadow, in the light. This opens up a lot. Even if you understand this level and don't go into the energy or material part of the structure, go into the health structure. If you have a cancer cell and you can take such a picture from it, would it tell you what is the cause, what is the mother cause, what is the center of the element which has caused the cancer, which element is sitting as a seed? There's a huge, huge application about this little picture. Because again, you look in the material side. You all seen the color. We got very excited about seeing a blue and a orange color or the yellow color. But in fact, you take a picture from a needle. You take an uncoated needle. What does the shadow look like? Because Dr. Elliott tells us the needle is the black, nano-coated. Then you see the blue line, and then you see the copper line. If you understand this, this should change a lot of things in the world of even medicine. Even when you coat it, there's a lot of discussion, I have this, I have that. So nano-coat it and see what the material should color give you before you actually, put it in salt and gans it. This, to me, as a scientist who understands a little bit, not much, of the structure of the plasma, this picture I think is one of the most significant pictures we've shown for a long time. How can you break color through black, blue, and copper color? Take as I said, non-nano-coated wire. If Dr. Elia, you have one with you at the moment, which is not nano-coated, and take a picture again by the same, mobile phone. And can we have a look at it? Do you have one with you?
I took but titanium needle. Because Armen nano coat everything. I don't have not nano
You
coated.
give a chance to Arman. You give a chance
Yes.
to Arman. He nano-coat himself.
Yeah, he nano cut everything, so I didn't
Yeah.
have the control needle. So I took a picture of what I have,
Okay.
and this is the titanium,
Okay.
and this
Okay.
nothing happened. No,
And
no
nothing happened.
shadows
There is.
in it. Yeah, it's just nothing, just needle, picture needle. I done
So,
it because I know what you will ask me, so I done during the experiment, and this nothing happened. And even Sandor asked me, "Do you have not nanocode?" I say, "Unfortunately, no, because our master nanocode everything." So
I don't know. We can ask. Sohail is on his way from China with Arman next week. He should have landed
okay,
very soon.
okay,
To bring
so
some more if they can have, and we take pictures. This picture, which you see on the screen, has a huge significance in the world of science.
yeah, I was
Huge
so happy,
significance.
sir,
And you
just to
got to
show you
understand.
know.
Yeah, but the thing is now we can estimate, because in some cases you will see the blue behind the yellow. Now you see the yellow behind the blue. Why does yellow show itself?
When
The
I
copper
change the angle, we have, if you want, Rick, just show different pictures. When I change the angle of flashing light, and they exchange the places, and probably you related this with something. Just it's just explain because my understanding sometimes just stuck.
no, but the most important thing is why do we see the 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 copper color?
Yeah, because all the state of
It's,
matter they exist on some time.
yes, but what is important is this goes back to crystal structure.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal structure, when you have a copper, which is nano-coated, it behaves as a diamond. So it reflects the light of the origin. And that's why you see the copper color. Because in fact, the inside, the structure is not black. In fact, the inside, the structure is very transparent. And so what you see as a color, silver color or copper color on the paper, on the shadow of the needle, is what is reflected in the inner layers structure of the nano layer. Nano layer is black as if you look from the copper out, as black as you look as outside in, because it still absorbs the total spectrum of the light energy which is reflected from the copper outward. But at the same time, it's a reflector because it's a structure, it's a crystal structure, it's diamond crystal structure. It behaves that way. So you see the reflection of it. It's what we call mirroring, but the mirroring is a reflection of the, what you call, of the light inside on the surface of the atomic structure. The green is a nanostructured light. The yellow or the copper color is a matter structure light. It's like putting a flashlight. But again, why do you see the color of the copper, but you don't see a black shadow? But where is the shadow?
But
Shadows are always black.
you cannot have a shadow because nano coating accept everything inside. It's no shadow.
But where is the shadow? Where is the shadow of the needle itself?
It
Why the
cannot
shadow
be.
is in two different colors?
This is the black hole. Just accept the light and transcend the light in other enters. It's like a black hole. Just accept and then like a quasar, just go out from other pole, and then you give you spectrum.
You speak like a Stephen Hawking.
No, I just think, try to think.
You're second Stephen Hawking.
Oh, thank you.
Black
No
hole
need.
takes everything and nothing comes out.
Not just transform the materials. I'm not saying that it's nothing. I'm saying that accept the light and transform the light in other end.
Maybe other people who are more expert in the flash photography can nano coat materials and show us different colors. Then
Yeah.
different materials, then we can make a spectrum of what to expect and what color, what it means. And this goes back to what I said and with the printer book number 3, that the new colors we'll see is the colors of the plasma. And this blue is a color of a plasma. How can you have a blue out of a black? Because you actually have photographed a plasma, a color of a gas which is in plasmatic state. This picture, I think it got to be put in front of the website of the Keshe Foundation as a discovery, or at least explanation of the, what do you call it, the identification of the nanomaterials. Now that people sell a nano copper oxide or they sell nano aluminium, tell them, can you have a picture of it? Then we tell you if it is or not. Because if you go to most of the nano production companies, it's a popcorn job. They make a black popcorn and they say, this is what I said to in the last talk when one of our colleagues got the material tested by university in England. That when you change the nanomaterial to its matter state, so it does not exist, it disappears and becomes black. So this photographic situation, what you show as a needle, has brings a totally new open door for the world of science, especially metallurgists, what I call plasma metallurgists, or plasma materialists, or plasma physicists, whatever you want to call them. So when we say the color of, let's say, zinc oxide is this color, so we can photograph a what they call oxidized zinc and take a picture of it with your mobile phone, and then you should see what color it should be. And then again, this explains about the aura. Why do we have an aura in our body as a medical examination to establish the sickness? Because the environment is the same. Now the needle has an aura because now he has a field transfer. And the colors explains to us what minerals sit at that point. The world of medicine is becoming very, very, or should say world of health is becoming very, very, very interesting because there are other data coming in and other tests we're doing coming in, which will be released in one go because then it'll be total instead of drip feed. We try to feed in one go. If you understand the picture which is there, and then try to understanding that your blood is in the shape of gans, in the form of gans, you should be able to see a shadow of colors if you can nanosize as it is in the gans state your own blood. Then you can identify the diseases which lead to certain poisons. This goes back to the teaching of the children teaching we have. Tesla understood part of this, but Tesla never went into the medical application. If Tesla would have gone into the medical application of his own understanding, the world of medicine would not be in tablets and what do you call it, injections. And the prime evidence of this is what we see in the needle. You know, you identify the point of pain, you can identify the color of it. And then you know what color you need to extract it. Birds with birds, doves with doves, and bulls with bulls. You have then you see a more effective process of what you doctors call healing process. A lot of cancers can be eradicated. That's why we say, when we say that you can, what do you call it, change the cancer within minutes. This is the evidence of it. If you understand the technology, if you understand what it means. Where you're short of mineral, you can introduce mineral in the right way using the same technology but as a plasma. And you don't need to put the mineral to transfer it. You allow the position to accept that strength magnetic field from its environment.
Mr. Kesh, there is an article that came out a couple of days ago on April 2nd about a new smartphone camera could tell you what things are made of. And they claim that they can point a camera at a substance, and due to the hyperspectral imaging, basically what we've been talking about, spectrum imaging, it's able to tell, for example, when you point it at a glass of alcohol, it says 70% water, 40% ethanol, and then the sugar content, the peat content, the malt content, and grain content of that glass of alcohol just from the hyperspectral imaging that comes back. And this is light spectra not visible to the human eye, but it's visible to the camera, so they can identify the electromagnetic fingerprints of the various substance and processes, so they say. This is
Yeah, you can do a lot of it. We can do a lot of filtering, and even through filtering to find out
right.
a lot of, you know, I mean, I think it was Wins who told us you can put a piece of aluminum and use your system for as a radiation detector, if I'm correct. But on the other hand, you know, at the moment, even with these new cameras you carry, you invite the strangers in without you knowing. And most of the cameras around us is all blocked in a specific way that, because one of our security people called us and said, you know, you put a white tape on your camera not to be seen. We put a filter on it. We still see what you're doing. So they told us how to block it. Because if you were around Catch Foundation, you've seen this. All our, what do you call it, laptops and mobiles are covered in one way or another with a multiple layering and a special way that they tell us they can't see, so we are happy. When our people down, God knows, thousands of kilometers can come through our camera, so it cannot be filtered. So at the moment, a lot of people carry these mobile cameras, but they don't understand that they're actually carrying their own life in their hand, and they do whatever they like with it, because they can go through the images. The same way, if you put certain materials in front of these cameras, you can use them as aura detectors. I know some people who use it for certain jobs.
Can we find a way to use the camera as a mag-grav detector?
Yes, working on it. Yes. It costs less than a cent, but once it's done, actually, well, you can do it yourselves in a very easy way. I think it can be done. If you're correct, you will see it. We'll see. Tokyo. As I said, let us get to Tokyo, and then we'll know what we can show you new. The application of energy transfer and what Dr. Elia showed us in the DNA chain with the color chart. If you understand the color, if you understand what it means to gain that color and the properties of it, and you can replicate it in the plasmatic condition, genetic modification and eradication of genetic diseases become very easy. I'll explain this in more detail in the coming time. We will open the health section in a very huge way in the coming weeks, in an amazing way, and we support it with pictures, and with full pictures. People who've been totally bald, now they're growing full head of hair. People who had sinuses within hours disappearing. It's just because we understand the process now. It's done in a controlled manner by doctors, scientists in the environment of the what do you call it, research laboratory. Hopefully by Thursday we have a new news in respect to the animal culture, how we can do and how it can be done. It's the property of understanding the plasma condition in the environment. The health aspects of the technology will open up in such a way that everybody will understand it in a very rapid way. And I looked around for a long time to find a common ground where people can link to and understand immediately. And the most common ground a lot of people can do themselves goes back to the work of Tesla. We'll show you how a lot of scientists will understand it immediately. What are these colors you're showing us?
Well, this is a little sample of what Rhett calls plasma colors that he took with his cell phone, with his I think his pyramid structures or something, I guess. So he just sent
Is
them
that
now,
his
and
blood vessels? Is
his
that Brad's blood vessel? He took a picture of his own blood.
well, maybe
Now we
he's
know he's an alien.
he's part electrical for sure, part plasma in
Brad,
a
can you
direct
explain
way.
to us what this is?
Yeah, it's just a pyramid thing I made. This guy taught me how to make them a long time ago. And if you set it up the correct way, you can photograph the energy coming out of them.
What, out of the pyramids?
Yeah.
And where is your bottom of pyramid? Where is your top of pyramid?
It's below. You just can't see it. I was just trying to show you the colors, that's all.
But are these colors outside or just happens from coming out of pyramid?
No, it comes out. It comes out
What
and goes
goes in?
up.
Have you pictured the outside of it?
What do you mean the outside?
I mean, what goes in the pyramid that it comes out green? Does it green go and it comes out green? Or you don't see any green outs because you got to take a picture of totality, not just what comes out, because you got to see what goes in.
They're all made of different materials. It's a mix of different metals and composites, and I just set it up that way. But I just wanted to show the colors.
Okay, thank you very much. I had a point raised just before we started the session by Dr. Elliot in respect that somebody on the internet has put something, he's drinking so many milliliters of gas and nothing has happened to it, or to him, and has been doing it for months. As we said, this is what you do on your hand. We don't recommend it, and we ask you not to do till the point that is analyzed and discussed and released by the health authorities. If anything you do is on your own interest or you're trying to do it for teaching us something, there's no problem. But on the other hand, we ask you not to, what do you call it, unless you're in the controlled research section done by what they call scientists, which only understand the matter state, to stop using these things and do not consume or touch these till the scientific world is happy with it. So I was told I better say this, that we protect. We don't need to protect ourselves. There are 7 billion of us, and now for all of us test what we like, the way we like to see what the outcome is. But on the other hand, for those who understand in a different shape and form, is that there is no difference between the gans and the food in the structure. The only thing is, man became intelligent when he started actually consuming meat which is cooked. As I've explained before, Dr. Elliot, I explained this in a very deep way and she understand it. For example, if a kilo of meat would have taken 18 hours to cook in the stomach to be digested what is needed, by cooking it, we transfer the energy which the enzyme inside the body of the man, the ganses were using to open it up. That energy is given to it by the fire or by the cooking. So we receive the same food, the same kind of mass, but we use less energy to digest it or to break it up, that we can use these energy packages of ganses. And that surplus energy over time has added to our intelligence, or we had enough to use, so we have become more intelligent. The next change of the condition of the human race comes with the GANs. Now with the GANs, when it's confirmed, and we don't, from the foundation point of view, we learned about the fire and we brought us so much intelligence. Now, by changing the matter into the GANs and consuming, the intelligence of man will go beyond the present understanding of the man. Because now you do not need to go through the digestion process. Because it's already not only cooked and chewed, it's already disintegrated into a state which was going to do. This is something we kept off the book now that we are in the process of institutes, and in a way finding a lot of people who understand the process. The introduction of the GANs into the food process of the man, once it's confirmed by the authorities who can measure, is as revolutionary as by the man discovering the use of fire. Because by fire, we added energy outside, which allowed us to save energy inside to disintegrate and to open up the matter into the GANs instead of its own GANs. Doesn't matter if you eat wheat or you eat meat, it's all protein based. Now with the CO2 or with copper oxide or with the fat, instead of as we spoke about the digestion system in our teachings, that when the food enters your body after your throat, when enters in a gaseous state in magnetic gravitational field environment, and then it goes in your stomach, and then it changes by other chemical reaction, you call it, into a gans of the matter, that the energy transfers through the wall because no matter ever crosses the wall. Then you understand what is with the production and consumption of the gans to be reduced to human race. This is already past the matter state. There is a microphone open in the background somewhere. So I think it's Sandor. So in so many ways, now that we finished with the part by part physical structure of the man, now you can understand the changes that the GANs is going to bring to human race. As I said, we change everything in the structure of the human race. You eat the food in any shape or form to receive, to convert it into the GANs state that you can receive its energy for what you need. Now with the GANs, you receive the energy according to what the body needs without digesting it. Because it enters an environment which is already existing. So, as we said, it was from the time of Adam to now, and from now on, it's a new cycle. And it'll touch every part of the human being in every dimension. When the people say we consume GANs of different things, you have to understand what energy it releases that your body needs inside you. This is the difference, this is the change, this is the point of revolution and evolution for human race. Because in a space, you'll be given the GANs. It's no use growing a cow to digest it back and then break it up into its GANs state to absorb its energy. We ask you not to do till it's totally established. But on the other hand, we know scientists will go as far as they can, or people who consider themselves as scientists, to explore the parameters. Don't forget, as I said, when I heard this, people, some of us eating poison berries and they died, and they learned that poison, that what do you call it, fruit you don't touch because it kills you. And we see it with Japanese. They get the blowfish and they try to chance the what do you call it, bet the chances if they can stay alive or die because of the fish. So please, now we come so far with the whole thing, we ask you to Step back, let it be analyzed in what you need to consume by the world of science and what they call health authorities to show that you don't, what you need, how much you need. Then you take a mixture already digested. It's literally like what I call a mother chewing the food and giving it to the child, because she's digested it. Not just she's softened it, she's added her own enzyme GANs to the food that the child eats from it. It's literally like the drinking milk from the breast of a mother. Is already in the GANs state. That's why when you're a baby you nourish and grow so fast in the months that you are fed milk from the breast of the mother, because the energy given to you is in the ganses that already converted to you. But now, for those who don't have the intelligence to understand, they call us whatever, because the food industry will suffer heavily from it when you can convert the gans of anything and it's the energy you need. This is where the need for the man to abuse the man will die. This is where no one in Africa can die of hunger. No one on the street will die, because they receive the energy in the digested way, in a simple way, at a cost of nothing. We ask you not to take, but we explain to you the principle of what it is and how the process is for the food industry to start looking at a new way of food. This is what is the new way of food. You don't need to have dehydrated packs to go in the space and try to put water in it. We give you the food, what you need, exactly the way you suckled it from the breast of the mother when you were born, in the same condition. If the new technology of the Keshe Foundation in a space as food is criminality, so every man is criminal because you suckled from the same thing from the breast of the mother. So every mother has to be sued in feeding gans to the children, with full spectrum of what it needed. This is where the change comes. We are not going beyond the boundaries of the science. We are going within the correct structure of the science. And those who challenge us are those who are against humanity. Those are the ones who are abusers who want to carry on with abuse. But don't become the guy who picked up the first berry and died and the rest did not realize they can't eat that berry. Let it be analyzed structurally that your bone can take the calcium you need from it. I have to tell you, people who use CO2 or copper oxide, ask for mass spectroscopy of your bones and see if your bone mass is the same before or after. We will release a report on this basis, because the ratio you take has to be the correct, that it adds to the mass bone, it doesn't take. Go back into the teaching, which I several times confirmed with the Italian nuclear center conformation. We see CaCO3, which means the stomach attracts a certain amount of calcium when you take CO2. In the right environment, this means depletion of calcium into the bone structure. But on the other hand, if you do it the right way, you need calcium in certain part of the digestion system for other purposes, to be rejected or to be added. This is absolutely important to understand how much of what you take is very much like, if you take too much alcohol, you go drunk, and if you take too much drugs, you kill yourself. Let the establishment, that the scientific world gives us the exact figures. We will give some figures in the coming days due to our success in Fukushima. We will give directions in the use of copper oxide, CO2 and other materials. If what we produce as food, or we introduce as food, as copper oxide or CO2 or any other material in a gas state or cocktail of gas states in a coming time, which is in a plasmatic condition energy level, if our process is criminality, then every mother is criminally feeding their child. Because now we understand the essence of the creation. It's very much these people who see in the background, they call us and write all sorts of rubbish about Keshe Foundation, the scam, terrorists and the rest of it. These are the scammers themselves, because this way they're losing their livelihood. So they have to do it. It's the same, very much the same as the guy who said the earth is round and they hung him. And now we rely on this round, the earth being round, that we don't fall off the edge of it, because there is no edge. As I said, once we open this, should we open the books, that you understand more and more. There are people who are eating GANs for a long time, but you have to understand you need a cocktail of gases that is good for the body can absorb, and in the right order. But let the scientific world develop the technology, assess it, and then do it. Don't be the guy who took the first berry and killed himself. Because these things, if you don't control, can lead to death. But in a way, it's the way you were born. It's just you eating banana every day and nothing else. You deplete your body from other things. But at the same time, because the GANS is in a state of certain strength field, in time, the body of the man will do, there is no need for certain organs. Become appendix, become tonsils, we don't need them anymore. By introduction of the GANs, as part of the food diet, as part of the energy intake of the man, our body will change in certain ways. We've seen it in the universe, we'll see it here, there is no difference. So please, don't become hero, because you become zero if you get it wrong, meaning you die. But let it be done correctly. Let it be done by the scientific organizations. Let it be done in an appropriate way, the way we are doing it in a very slow way. We have Raman spectroscopy, infrared spectroscopies, all coming in. We got all sorts of machinery coming into university within the next 3 to 6 months to confirm the correctness and how much and what it is. As I said, this, what you call it, the GANs, is part of your own structure. And Dr. Elia, as a scientist, as a medical person, has shown it today with DNA. We have seen it in the pictures. But now it has to be established how much, where, and how, and what level each one of us, according to our DNA structure, can take what it can take. That we do not cause DNA deformation, but we carry on with the survival in the structure and evolution of development of intelligence of the man. This is what we said in the children's program today, how the peace will come. Now we see how the peace is there. When man is not hungry, he will not fight. And this is the whole structure. The way the blood of animals, the meat-eating flesh nations, have an animal behavior of a what do you call it, a wild animal. Look at the Americans, how much steak and the way they eat steak, and look at their behavior. Nothing short of the wildest of the wild. And look at the Indians, with eating the same protein in a different state of matter as vegetarians. Serene, calm. So through the GANS state, we change the behavior of a man to a peaceful man. Because body takes what it needs and no more, so there is no fight. We dismantle every structure of the humanity which leads to destruction, division, and war. And in a time, very soon, you can feed every man on this planet every day of their life, that they not go hungry through the GANS process. but let it be done by those who lose their factories and billions and the shareholdings in different companies because they live a comfortable life to kill the others, do their fighting. Those of you who are in research, you've been around Keshe Foundation, now start looking into the properties of the GANs and what it gives you, how it does mix metals together, mix materials together, that you can get a composite GANs, and when you change it to this GANs state, as a food, you receive a composite material that the body needs and the quantities of it. This is a job of the health authorities and whatever you like, full authorities around the world to start looking in the gas. You don't look, people will force them to look. It's a digested matter and it will be carried on. And because it's in a gas state, it means it's in balanced state because it has found its own balance, its own energy, and it gives what it takes and it needs what it takes. So you will find a race of the man who lives on the plasma will be one of the most serenest, calmest, peaceful nations in the world or in the universe as one race. So Dr. Elia told me, can you please clear this, that they don't tell us we are criminals. You can do whatever you like. We cannot control 7 billion people. But you have to understand what you do and allow the world of science to give measurements for it and the energy level for it. This is a digested food. This is the origin of your own body. How can you be a criminal when you feed your own body with what it's made of? Unless the cowboys have to sell beef, and unless the what do you call it, the other people have to control the food, as we've seen in Africa. African nations were not poor. They had all the food they needed for centuries. Creating wars to create famine and give as a charity handout food that the farmers could not create, produce the rate as it was given handout, and when you destroy the agriculture, then you put a price on it, then you slave the nation. This is finished with this technology. American aid in the sacks of rice made in US has gone to the grave, where they created the war and they forced the people that the farmers was not worth, they would have cost them $10 a ton. They put a sack of 10 kilos, they put the rice at $55. That was not worth for the farmer to make anything because it was cheaper. American farm. And then the nation became bigger. And now in a country like Sierra Leone, a rice producing country for centuries has become 85% of national income goes to the United States for importing rice. Nations have been taken to slavery through a stomach. Now with this process, we take that, we abolish it, it's finished.
Mr. Keshe, perhaps we can carry on some of this conversation into the Spanish workshop, which is supposed to be occurring at this time period.
No, there's no problem because the Spanish is no problem. Because the Spanish are working in the food section.
Right.
They want to feed the nation. Maybe they understand this. Maybe you can link for the first time the health section and the Spanish section together.
Well,
Because
today we've linked the kids workshop, the health workshop, and the Spanish workshop together, actually. So
it's no problem. But the change today is huge. If people understand what was put on the table, what was shown initially, and what I explained, now you understand. Do we need leaders to create wars to line their own pockets with a few pleasures of life while the breath they have? And the others have to pay with the suffering. You have a free food, but let it be established exactly how and how much. Understand something very clear. Those who think and eat GANs will go to the same process as you go through normal. You go to the big toilet, you'll go to what they call just passing water. Because body will take from the food what you drank, what it needs, the rest will be rejected. But it'll be interesting to see the color of what you reject. If it goes white, does it come out white? Let them report it to us and then we tell you. The whole process, now we know, in the coming time, I've been told by Sohail that they have managed to produce the battery which can run and charge a mobile phone within 4 hours. So the energy unit is on its way once they complete it. Armin is in, what do you call it, in China today. He should be landing next few hours. He knows his job. He knows exactly what he's got to do. At the same time, in the coming days or weeks, by return of Arman or by the opening of the institute, we will show the first oasis system for water, natural water, while you sit and collect it, which answers to what our friends in the Spanish lesson were asking, how to change the desert. I have shown to Arman how to do what to do, and Sohail is aware of his job in this section, and we will release the water production. In a coming time, I'll show you a system where you can create composite food according to what you need through the GANS state. Which means the food, according to your blood, will be absorbed by the environment and given to you the way you need it through your GANS. Step by step. But now the energy system, you can add these energies together to get kilowatts and megawatts you need if you want to do it the way it's done. Or you can go into the dynamic system, into the star formation and do it a different way. Next week we have hopefully the first institute students joining us earlier, a doctor in the gravitational system, Italian, to bring the knowledge, his knowledge, into the knowledge seekers to start the first lift that you can see. He has already achieved levitation through different system, and he sees the GANS technology, the easier way to do it, but achieving lift. So, as we said, we are on target to change the process, but hopefully how and the way it happens, it depends on those who think that the more enemies we have, the better it is. I have to say, and I go back to say what I've said in a couple of, what do you call it, interviews I've given us. Again, I'd like to thank Oyu Koko for what she did and the bravery she showed in going to Fukushima last year, and her work has paid this dividend. In the coming time, a public announcement will be made with the Japanese government and TEPCO and the Keshe Foundation simultaneously, in respect to the success in our trust. We leave it till it's all done and confirmed and sealed, but we announce it in due time. TEPCO has to release the announcement first, and then the Japanese government and simultaneously will be released by Keshe Foundation. As we say, the test results are in. Any other question?
Well, I think we should move to the Spanish workshop for at least a half hour, if not a little longer, depending on how much they'll allow you there. And
I think the Spanish could have translated it.
yes, that would have been okay. The Spanish Health
Thank you
Workshop.
very much. Spanish Health Workshop.
The Spanish Kids Health Workshop. How would that be?
Why not?
For the Chinese.
Okay. For the Chinese.
It all works. Okay. It's all great. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you in a few minutes once again.
The Spanish, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you indeed, Doctor. Yeah. And thank you very much for Arman with all these nano-coating. I think the only thing is when you see Arman, don't stand still, he'll nano-coat you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Armin, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, and so ends the health teaching workshop. Many thanks to Mr. Kesh and to Dr. Elia and to the other people who contribute, and to all our listeners and viewers around the universe. Okay, bye for now.